The Detroit Tigers have a massive decision to make about Tarik Skubal. He's under team control through 2026. After that, he's a free agent. And based on everything we're seeing right now, the Tigers are about to make the same mistake that's haunted this franchise for over a decade. Let me explain what's actually happening here. Skubal just won the American League Triple Crown in 2024. First Tiger to do it since Justin Verlander in 2011. Led the league with 18 wins and 228 strikeouts and a 2.39 ERA. You know how many pitchers have done that since 2000? 6. That's it. 6 guys in 24 years. Clayton Kershaw did it. Johan Santana did it. And now, Tarik Skubal. And the Tigers are sitting on their hands trying to figure out if they want to pay him. Here's the situation. The Tigers have exactly 3 options with Skubal. Option 1 is extend him now to a long-term deal before he gets even more expensive. Option 2 is trade him and get a massive haul of prospects back. Option 3 is let him play through 2026 and watch him walk for nothing but a compensation draft pick. And right now, it looks like they're heading toward the worst possible outcome. Think about who we're talking about here. This isn't some aging veteran or middle rotation guy. Skubal's 28 years old and entering his prime. He's got 4+ pitches. His changeup is devastating. His slider makes hitters look foolish. He doesn't rely on pure velocity, which means he's going to age well. This is the type of pitcher you build a franchise around for the next decade. But here's the problem. Chris Ilitch owns the Tigers. He inherited the team from his father Mike along with Little Caesars and a real estate empire. Forbes values the Tigers at $1.5 billion. The Ilitch family's worth? Over $4 billion. This isn't Oakland or Tampa Bay, where ownership legitimately struggles to compete financially. This is a billionaire who has the money, but apparently not the desire to spend it. Look at what comparable pitchers are getting paid right now. Aaron Nola just got $172 million for 7 years from the Phillies. That's about $24.5 million per year. Nola's good, but he's never won a Cy Young, never led the league in anything. Yoshinobu Yamamoto got $325 million over 12 years from the Dodgers, and he'd never thrown a single pitch in Major League Baseball. Not one. The Dodgers gave him $325 million based on potential alone. Carlos Rodon got $162 million for 6 years from the Yankees, despite missing half his starts with injuries. Tyler Glasnow got $136 million, and he barely pitches 120 innings a year. These guys are getting paid massive money, and they're not even close to Skubal's level. So where should Skubal's deal land? Based on his age and performance and the current market, we're talking minimum $35 to $40 million per year, probably 8 to 10 years. That's $350 to $400 million total. And yeah, that sounds like a lot, but that's what ace pitchers cost now. That's the market. You either pay it or you lose your stars to teams that will pay it. The Tigers' payroll for 2025 sits around $100 million according to recent projections. That ranks them in the bottom third of baseball again. They've got plenty of room to add a major contract. Hell, from 2012 to 2016, when Mike Ilitch was still running things, they were spending over $200 million. Adjusted for inflation, that's about $250 million in today's money. The money's there, the revenue's there, the market's there, everything's there except the will to spend it. What makes this even more frustrating is the opportunity staring them right in the face. The American League Central is wide open for the taking. Shane Bieber just had Tommy John surgery that wiped out his 2024 season. Recovery from Tommy John typically takes 12 to 18 months, which means he's probably missing significant time in 2025 too. That's Cleveland's ace gone. The White Sox just lost 121 games. The Royals are still building. The Twins are actually cutting payroll. This is the Tigers' moment. They just made the playoffs for the first time since 2014. They've got young talent like Riley Green, who hit .262 with 24 homers. Spencer Torkelson's starting to figure it out at first base. Colt Keith showed real promise as a rookie. You add a locked-up Skubal to this core, and suddenly you're not just competing for the division. You're building something sustainable. But without Skubal, look at that rotation. Reese Olson posted a 3.53 ERA, which is fine, But he's not fronting a playoff rotation. Casey Mize has thrown 102 innings total over the last 2 seasons because his arm keeps breaking down. Matt Manning's ERA was over 4.00. Jackson Jobe is a prospect, but he's not ready. That's not a competitive rotation. That's a rotation that gets you 75 wins and another top 10 draft pick. Scott Boras represents Skubal, which makes this whole thing even more complicated. Boras doesn't do hometown discounts. He doesn't leave money on the table. He just got Juan Soto, $765 million from the Mets. Think about that. $750 million for one player. You think Boras is going to let Skubal take some team-friendly deal? Not a chance. He's going to get every penny his client deserves. The teams that would line up for Skubal if he becomes available? Oh man. The Mets with Steve Cohen's unlimited money printer. The Dodgers who collect superstars like their Pokemon cards. The Yankees if they lose Juan Soto. The Red Sox trying to get back to relevance. The Orioles have the prospect capital to make a massive trade. The Cubs need an ace desperately. Half the league would be calling. And here's what really burns me about this whole situation. The Tigers have been down this exact road before. They know how this story ends because they've lived it 3 times already. Justin Verlander. Remember him? Cy Young winner, MVP, future Hall of Famer. The Tigers developed him and then traded him to Houston in 2017 when they didn't want to pay him. What happened next? Verlander won 2 World Series rings with the Astros, won another Cy Young at age 39. He's still pitching effectively at 41 years old. Max Scherzer, another Cy Young winner the Tigers developed. They let him walk in free agency after 2014 because they didn't want to pay him $210 million. He signed with Washington and won a World Series in 2019. Won 3 more Cy Young awards. David Price, Cy Young winner. Traded him in 2014 because they knew they wouldn't pay him. He ended up winning a World Series with Boston in 2018. Seeing a pattern here? Every single ace pitcher the Tigers have developed in the modern era has gone on to win championships somewhere else. Every single one. And now they're about to add Skubal to that list. The fan reaction in Detroit tells you everything. Social media goes crazy every time there's even a rumor about Skubal's future. Sports radio can't stop talking about it. The fans remember watching Verlander celebrate in Houston. They remember Scherzer dominating in Washington. They remember Price winning in Boston. They don't want to see it happen again. But what do the Tigers do instead of investing in the roster? They raise prices on everything else. Ticket prices went up for 2025. Parking at Comerica went from $20 to $30. Beer costs $14 now. They're squeezing every penny out of the fans who show up while refusing to give them a reason to keep showing up. The attendance numbers are already brutal. Comerica Park averaged about 23,000 fans in 2024. The stadium holds 41,000. Even making the playoffs for the first time in a decade didn't fill the building. Now imagine trying to sell tickets after trading away your best player, after showing the fan base once again that winning isn't the priority. Good luck getting anyone to care. Spring training starts February 15th. Pitchers and catchers report, and suddenly this becomes the only story anyone talks about. Every Skubal start becomes a countdown. Every good game increases his trade value. Every dominant performance reminds everyone what they're about to lose. It becomes a season-long distraction that hangs over everything. When the Tigers are good, downtown Detroit thrives. The bars and restaurants around Comerica see massive increases in business. Hotels fill up for weekend series. The city gets positive national attention for something other than the usual narratives. A competitive Tigers team means millions in economic activity for a city that desperately needs it. But Chris Ilitch doesn't seem to care about any of that. He inherited this team from his father, who understood that owning the Tigers meant more than just profit margins. Mike Ilitch spent money because he wanted to win. He wanted to give Detroit something to cheer for. His son? He treats it like just another asset in the portfolio. What really gets me is the Tigers even take revenue-sharing money from MLB. About $30 million a year that's supposed to help smaller markets compete. But Detroit isn't a small market. They're just acting like one, taking welfare from the league while sitting on billions. It's embarrassing. Riley Green's watching this. Why would he sign a long-term deal when he sees how they treat their best player? Spencer Torkelson and Colt Keith are taking notes. Every young player on that team is learning that the Tigers don't pay stars. They develop them and let them walk. So why would anyone want to stay? This could trigger a complete exodus of talent over the next few years. Green hits free agency eventually. Torkelson too. Keith will get there. If they all leave because ownership showed them the Tigers don't value winning, then this rebuild becomes permanent. It becomes the Tigers' identity. The team that develops talent for real contenders. You know what sustainable success actually looks like? It's locking up your homegrown stars before they get expensive. The Braves did it with Ronald Acuna Jr. and Spencer Strider. The Mariners did it with Julio Rodriguez. Smart organizations identify their cornerstone players and pay them. They don't wait until it's too late and then act surprised when the price goes up. The Tigers had their chance to extend Skubal 2 years ago when it would have been cheaper. They didn't. Now they're facing the reality that waiting costs more. Way more. Here's what's really gonna happen. The Tigers are gonna drag this out through spring training. They'll have some half-hearted negotiations that go nowhere. By the trade deadline, if the Tigers are out of contention, which they probably will be without more investment, then the calls start coming. Contenders desperate for pitching start making offers. 3 top prospects, 4 top prospects, Major League-ready players. The offers get bigger and bigger until Scott Harris can't say no. They'll trade Skubal probably to the Dodgers or Mets or whoever makes the biggest offer. They'll sell it to fans as building for the future. They'll talk about the great prospects they got back. The same stuff they said when they traded Verlander, when they let Scherzer walk, when they dealt Price. And Tigers fans will watch Skubal dominate for another team. Watch him start playoff games and all-star games. Watch him win Cy Young awards. Maybe watch him win a World Series. All while the Tigers are playing meaningless games in September with their next batch of prospects who they also won't pay when the time comes. The saddest part? This is all so preventable. Just pay the man. Just invest in winning. Just show the fans and the players and the city that you actually care about more than profit margins. Write the check for $350 million or $400 million or whatever it takes. In the grand scheme of what Chris Ilitch is worth, it's nothing. It's a rounding error. But that check won't get written. We all know it won't, because the Tigers under Chris Ilitch have shown us who they are. They're a team that develops talent for other organizations. They're a franchise that treats baseball like a business instead of a passion. So yeah, Tigers fans, get ready to say goodbye to Tarik Skubal and watch him succeed somewhere else, because when you have a billionaire owner who won't invest in winning, this is what you get. By 2027, Skubal will be starting opening day for someone else, and probably the Dodgers or Mets. He'll be pitching in October while the Tigers are mathematically eliminated by Labor Day. This moment right now is a crossroads for the franchise. Keep Skubal and show you're serious about winning or trade him, and admit you're not. Based on everything we know about Chris Ilitch and how he's run this team, the choice is already made. Skubal's as good as gone, and the Tigers will remain irrelevant while Detroit keeps waiting for an owner who actually cares about winning. That's not speculation, but just pattern recognition. The same story playing out one more time.